Right guys, now I know we haven't gone very far, but we've actually now ventured into a completely different part of our capital city. And it's odd to think that we've now ventured into the oldest part of our capital city. It's, you know, obviously quite odd to think about it amongst all this glass and steel right here. But this is where the Romans first settled some 2,000 years ago and referred to it as Londinium. Okay, we've now ventured into the square mile, the financial sector, into the city of London. The square mile just around is one of the 32 boroughs of our capital. And the City of London has always been its funny old little place. I mean, up until about 300 years ago, it had a wall around it. It was just a little bit like Rome with the Vatican, okay? It had a wall around it. But it's also a funny old place because it's had its own leader for nearly 700 years, the Lord Mayor of London. And there's been very near 700 Lord Mayors of London. They only ever hold the office for 1 year, but the Lord Mayor of London is the only person who could legally keep the monarch out of the city. I mean, imagine the scene. Say if the Queen was on the tour right now, and obviously she's loving it, yeah? The Lord Mayor of London could actually then come into the tour and kick the Queen off the tour and tell her to shift her booty down to Whitechapel, and she cannot contest that. But then again, the Queen's never been on my tour. Well, yeah, anyway. But it's also worth pointing out that the City of London also has its own police force, completely exempted from the Metropolitan Police who govern over the rest of London. And it was the City of London Police who arrested a woman just next to Aldgate Station, where this high-rise is right now, at 9 o'clock in the evening on the 29th of September 1888. And this woman's name was Catherine Eddowes. Now, around about 9 o'clock in the evening, Catherine Eddowes has drank her fair share of alcohol. In fact, she's managed to get herself so drunk, she's running up and down outside the pub going, ding, 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 I'm a fire engine, I'm a fire engine, making a complete plonker of herself until she was arrested by two city police officers who actually tackled her to the ground, dragged her to the city drunk tank opposite Liverpool Street Station, and kept her there till she'd sobered up. Thing is, once she'd sobered up, it was then 1 o'clock in the morning, Sunday the 30th of September, 1888. Now, at that point, let's not forget, this is when Elizabeth Stride's body had just been discovered down the road in Whitechapel. But because there were no telephones or radios back in those days, they didn't know there'd been any murder in Whitechapel. So the city police were quite content to release all their drunks and their vagrants, one of which being Catherine Eddowes. So when she's released from the drunk tank, she just walks out quite chippily like that. And the desk sergeant, he tries to chastise her about this. And he says to her, "You've got no right getting yourself drunk." You know what Catherine Eddowes does? She just brushes it off her shoulder and just says, "Good night, me old cuck," and walks away. But the thing is, she doesn't walk back into Whitechapel where she said she lived. She walked deeper into the city because there was a place in the city she knew she could find herself a customer. A place rather appropriately named the Prostitutes Island. So I want to take you guys to now, so let's go.